It's November 12th, evening hunt. We sat in the timber on a different farm this morning. Had a really good hunt. Action kind of petered out after a few hours. Almost shot at a nice buck. He came by us on a trail at 29 yards, and you had about a 5-yard gap to stop him, and I couldn't get him stopped. He just slipped by us. Ended up shooting a doe probably around 9 o'clock or something. She was trying to get downwind of us, was on to us, so we took her out. But we're on a different farm tonight. I've had pictures of 3 different mature bucks on this piece in the last 12 hours. There's not a whole lot of cover around here, and I'm pretty certain that they're hanging out here in this patch of timber just to the south of us. We're sitting over an alfalfa field, scrape tree out in front of us, and the decoy. These bucks have been super spotty here, so as soon as I seen they showed back up, we wanted to get in here and take a crack at them tonight. Hopefully one of them steps out. We're set up in the cage blind, so we should be able to get away with murder. Our wind's blowing straight at this pond back here over my shoulder. Shouldn't have anything get downwind of us. So, we've only got a couple hours till dark. It's a little warm, but we'll see what shows up here.
First, you have to make the product work, and then you can make it pretty. We're super excited to introduce to you HHA Customs. We have a variety of different custom Cerakote colors that we will be offering on our Tetra Max Rise lineup. We're extremely excited for this and really excited to bring it to you, the end user. If you have any more questions on the HHA Custom Cerakote lineup, visit your local HHA dealer or hhsports.com.
The sun just crested over the hill. Got about 35 minutes left. We've seen 2 fawns. We had 2 fawns come out down in the corner of this alfalfa. And they fed in the field for a good half hour, 40 minutes. And we had a lone doe to the east of us out in the cut that used to be CRP, but they cut it down this summer. I don't know what she's eating out there, but she was out there milling around for quite a while. But feels good. Temperature's starting to drop off a little bit. Got a really good chance one of these bucks shows himself here. Hopefully within the next half hour. is when you think the night is over. We were down to the last probably 10 minutes. We'd seen those 2 fawns and a doe. Other than that, it's been pretty slow. We're not far off the road. There's been a bunch of traffic, farm machinery, just real noisy. And all of a sudden we heard walking in this grass behind us, and we kind of both looked at each other like, you hear that? And you could almost tell it was a buck walking like he would if he's postured to the decoy. And we heard him jump the fence. I actually pulled the decoy in on a deer cart, and I ditched the deer cart back here because it's the last place I thought a buck would come from. Sure enough, he must have seen that deer cart. We heard him jump the fence, and he came right past us at like 12 yards. Went through the fence gap, and I drew on him. I was gonna shoot him there. I knew he was at 25 when he came through that gap. I drew back, and I was just about to touch it off, and he started walking, so I let down. And he got up to the decoy, and he got real close, and he smelled probably ground scent. And he jumped out, I'm guessing, to about 30. Well, I was already drawn, and my pin was at 20, so I put it top of the lungs and shot. Left and right's perfect. I'm definitely lower than I wanted to be. We watched him run for probably 80 to 100 yards before he disappeared over the hill. Definitely gonna give him some time. Gonna watch the footage back. I feel like it's definitely a fatal shot. It's just a little lower than I would have hoped for. But great buck. He's one of the ones we had on camera this morning. Just after daylight, going through just down here. That's one of the deer we were in here after. He's definitely a 5-year-old deer, at least. So hopefully we get him. It's crazy. You think the day's up. Been grinding for quite a while now. A lot of hours. A lot of close encounters. Hopefully we get this buck. Well, it's the following morning. We shot that buck last night, about 10 after 5, 5:15, something like that. The shot was a touch low. We watched the deer, like you guys seen, run about 100 yards, and he kind of stopped right before we lost sight of him. He stopped there for probably 5 to 10 seconds, kind of walked off. I feel like if I would have got the heart, we would have seen him go down, or he would have ran to his death. Kind of feeling like I got possibly lung, liver, kind of right down there where that liver runs along the lungs. We've seen a lot of blood coming out of him, but we just decided to play it safe and give him overnight. It was plenty cold last night. We just got back to the blind here, and we're going to go see if we can get on the trail. Hopefully he ain't laying too far. He had to have gone, like, right there. It's coming out both sides. Well, this deer is gone about, I'm going to say, roughly 150 yards from the shot. Where we last seen him in the field. He went like another 30 to 40 yards, and he got down to this fence line. And he didn't want to cross. He started working down along the edge of this fence. We kind of tracked him through this grass. We thought he was going to lay in this ditch, but he ended up getting to the property line here. We still got good blood crossing the fence, so we're going to set the bow down and get on the other side of the fence and just stay on blood. Hopefully he's not much further. about 9:45. We've been looking for this deer since about 7 this morning. We've just been nice and slow working down this blood trail. For the most part, we've been able to blood, not pouring or anything. We have come across a couple of beds. All of them were dried up. I think he's probably bedded a few times now. But we're getting up here close to the pond. We actually just talked to the landowner, and he was hunting not too far from here this morning, and he could see where this blood trail came through, and he said he didn't see that deer this morning. So he had to have been through here before daylight this morning. There is a pond over here. It's fenced in, but it's a pretty good sized pond with a lot of cover around it, and he's headed right for it. So it's pretty much down to specs now, but we still feel strongly that this deer's gonna die. We just gotta find him. So we'll keep pushing on here and see what we come up with. What we thought was gonna be a quick recovery this morning. Played it safe last night, backed out. Kind of figured long liver, give him overnight, go in there and get him this morning, and we tracked this deer probably. He stayed in pretty much the same 40-acre block of cover, but he did, I would say roughly, I wish I would have started my track on Onyx this morning. I screwed up and didn't. But he's probably gone, I would say, close to 1,000 yards. We ended up jumping him probably 50 yards from a dirt road. He got up out of his bed. I only seen him. He probably got up 50 yards in front of me. I only seen him for maybe 5 to 10 seconds. And he went up towards the gravel road. I lost sight of him. Just so, as luck would have it, a vehicle's driving by, lays on the horn, which I'm assuming was honking at the deer, because he was probably in the road. And he crosses the road. So I didn't see him go across the road, but I know he crossed the road because we found blood on the road. There's good blood on the road. We just got back here. We're trying to figure out what our next play is. He's heading on to someone else's property. I just called that gentleman, and he was kind enough to give me permission. He said, yeah, sure thing, go in there and get your deer. I think what we're going to do is wait another 3 or 4 hours. I've talked to a few people already that say with that hit, we're looking at potentially liver, stomach, which could take, could take up to 20 hours, which we're getting pretty close to that. It's been about 17 since I shot him, which you just never know with these animals. They are insane. I thought for sure we were going to walk up on this deer within 200 yards this morning, but it's not the case. He's alive, and I wouldn't say well, but he was alive as of about 45 minutes ago when we jumped him. So we're going to eat lunch, regroup, probably talk to some more people, maybe line up some dog handlers. We don't know, but we're going to do everything we possibly can to try to get this deer. That's it. That's what I got for now. Well, it's 4 o'clock. The next day, it's almost 23 hours after the shot. We jumped him at about 11 o'clock this morning. He ended up crossing a gravel road. We had to secure permission from where he was headed, which we are on now. He came across the first field, which is a cut bean field. We were following specs for a while, and then we lost it for a while. We kind of had it narrowed down where we thought he was going to cross this tree line. Sure enough, we just got here, and this is the kind of blood that we're following. And that's a good spec compared to a lot of the stuff we've been finding. But I've talked to a lot of people today that think this deer is fatally hit, so we're just gonna keep after him. I think we're either gonna find him dead, or we're gonna find him and just have to run him until he dies. Unfortunately, but there's a gap right here. He has to be going through it, and then we gotta make it about probably 100 more yards across this field, and then we're going to be in some good bedding cover down in this ditch. Been saying a lot of prayers. Hopefully we can find this deer.
It's 9 o'clock. It has been 28 hours since I shot the deer. We pretty much spent the entire day today, except for a couple hours midday, looking for this deer. I've reached out to a couple people tonight, getting in touch with couple dog handlers, trying to see what their availability is tomorrow. I've kind of talked through the shot with both of them. Both of them feel pretty optimistic that it's a dead deer. We just have to find it. So just trying to coordinate a time for tomorrow where we can meet up with one of them. Hopefully get on this deer. I feel like we've given it everything we've got to recover him. So next step is a dog.
It's Tuesday morning, about 9 o'clock. We spent the day yesterday pretty much looking for that deer. We ended up jumping him about 11 o'clock. He crossed a dirt road, went into another piece. We secured permission to go in there, and we followed blood across the bean field for probably 400 yards. Spot. Found the last blood right at a tree line. We did walk through some of the grass and stuff in there, but it was getting to be late in the day. The light was not great when we were in there, and we made the decision to call a dog last night. We got a guy coming. He's going to be here shortly. I've talked through the shot with him, shared the video with him, and another dog handler also. They think we got a 50-50 shot that this deer is dead. We jumped him about 17 hours after the shot. It's now been 40 hours. Both of them kind of agreed that it could take roughly 20 to 30 hours for a deer like that to die. So hopefully we can find him today. Hopefully we didn't screw the track up for the dog, and we make quick work here today. But it's been a long couple days. We are really just looking for closure at this point. Either this dog tells me this deer is not dead, or comes up on him today. So hopefully we end this story here within the next hour or two. So we shall see. What's her name?
Indy.
Indy.
Good girl. Sit. 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 So I'm thinking, let's just go to that very first blood you have in the bean field.
Okay.
Just start there, because that'll kind of be our best bet to see.
There is a decent amount of travel down this road. I don't know if like the dust from the road will mess it up, but we can take you right to where it crossed the road.
Okay, that works. Just start my track. And roughly where did you say the next spot of blood is? Right here?
Well, see, we had spotty blood across this field, headed up towards that blind.
Well, it's been 25 minutes since the dog got out of the truck. It brought us pretty much across the field right where we knew the deer went, so it was definitely on the track. Brought it down into this draw. Since it's been distracted by 3 different carcasses, just leg bone, stuff like that. Adam is gonna kind of just work this draw and see if the dog can get a whiff of something with the wind. The wind's blowing out of the south, like 15 miles an hour today. So there's a lot of deer scent in this draw, and he's just trying to kind of work down through it and see if the dog can pick up a whiff. It was on the track good until it got into this draw. Now it's kind of searching again right now, but we shall see. We still kind of have a gut feeling that we might have bumped him in this draw yesterday afternoon. We heard a deer get up and kind of crash through some thick stuff, and we couldn't get eyes on it. Might have been him, might not have been him, but we'll see.
Finding that, I mean, he should have been dead there if he was going to be dead, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been 40 plus hours.
And since it's like fresh still and wet, like he's still recently bleeding, he's obviously going to be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's, fortunately, but just because if it's a stomach hit, like, or a liver hit, they do not make it past 24 hours.
Yeah.
So my only thing is, like, at that point, to find that fresh of blood that's within 10 hours old, and that still puts us at 30 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
So do you think, like you were saying, like a chance of fat, or what do you?
I just think it's just low and just a lot of skin down there, and it's lower. So in general, with the pressure, like the blood pressure is going to just be heftier down. You know, like lower shots always bleed more. They're just, you know, and it's lower exit, and I'm guessing it was just low enough to be maybe it nicked liver, and it's just enough to not be a lethal liver hit. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, these low hits are kind of like this.
Yeah. Yep. No, we just more or less wanted closure and confirmation, so we appreciate it.
I think finding that, I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, I was like, if I can either find a deer dead, or if we find fresh sign, I was like, if I find fresh sign this late, then it kind of tells you. It's one thing if it's like 24 hours, but at this point, it's like, if we find, I mean, I could rub it still. It hadn't even dry. Like, it's probably from this morning. Yeah. Is my guess, so.
So you think that was probably that deer that got up there?
She went directly down that fence line.
Yeah.
And we went in here, and then she just went in, cut in, and went to bed, and went up and found the other blood.
So it must have crashed that way, because we were messed up. After we kicked it up here, we were in this area for a little bit, so it must have went that way, and then once we left, it circled back behind where we were. Well, that wasn't the news we were wanting. But at the same time, it was the news that we needed to hear in order to move forward on this operation. It was well over 40 hours since the shot. Indy, Adam's dog, kind of took the track right across the beans like we knew the deer did because of blood, down into the draw, and she ended up finding a bed with blood on it that he figured was from this morning. So he thinks that deer is gonna live. You know, being it's over 40 hours past the shot and the deer's not dead, he thinks the deer is gonna be fine. So we gotta trust that, and as hard as it is to move on after something like that, it's part of it, and it was the closure we needed. So I don't know if we're gonna hunt here today, if we're gonna take a couple days off, if we're gonna go somewhere else and JP can hunt in Kansas. Not really sure yet. Gonna sit here and kind of think about it, but that's gonna be pretty much the close to this chapter of our November chaos. So that's it.